Welcome to One Shots, a Dum-Dums and Dice podcast where professional voiceover actors and improvisers tackle one-shot stories created in a variety of hit RPGs. I'm your host, DJ One Shot 2.0, and I'm here to welcome you to Wrath and Glory, Traitor's Hymn, an introduction to Warhammer 40k's Wrath and Glory RPG. This arc features our GM Tom McGee and players Ryan LaPlante, Borovic, and special guest Spencer Hipwell. What will happen when the Dum-Dums try a new TTRPG set in the grim darkness of the far future? Nobody knows, cause it's One Shots, Wrath and Glory Edition.
Having safely guided this luxury ship and its VIPs from Gilead Primus back towards the Veronius flotilla, you're being feted by the captain, Captain Marcellin Galba, who is just so thrilled to get to show off his three favorite agents of the rogue trader Veronius to his storied guests. So far, he has inquired why Somnus is a trusted psyker in the employ of the group, and apparently it's because he's weird, but he gets it done. Which we learned having assisted the librarian Artina in obtaining a cursed book and failing to eat some snacks. He earned the favor of Lord Veronius. We learned of Sister Honoria's actions on Enoch that resulted in the death of many orcs, the reclamation of an important shrine, and the brutal injury of Lieutenant Bardot, but a general improvement of armsman discipline and stories. But the last of our agents has yet to be introduced. The commander of the armsmen aboard the ship, Morstan Fife, has just sat down and is a bit in awe of one of the Astartes. And Captain Galba immediately steps in because he, as he's like to do, and he says, yes, Commander, the commander is probably too shy to say it, but in addition to being a fan of the sister here, he's also a big fan of you and your brethren, sir. I assume I was told by your chapter that your chosen task in order to complete your training as I believe you go scout then Marine. Is that correct?
Correct.
Excellent. So in order to become a full Marine, you had to choose what quest you were going to undertake, and you undertook to help be assistants to the flotilla, which was great of you and has been a huge, and like you can tell he's just so starstruck. Like everyone is fucking in, even though you're like in the scout armor, which isn't nearly as impressive, they're all just like, holy shit, that must be what they all look like. They all wear cool suits. So he's just kind of gabbing on about it, but gets himself under control and just says, we greatly appreciate that you decided to grace us with your presence and to make us your test, your final test, and I'm sure you will be a wonderful full-fledged Marine. If the service you've rendered to us thus far on the journey, to be clear, there has been no service, has been any indication, you will be the best of us, the best of all of us, the Emperor's child. But if you may, I mean, what does it mean to prove yourself worthy? Surely anyone who even embarks on this journey must be worthy of being a Marine. And worthiness is top of mind for you and has been for some time. You've recently recovered from one of the many procedures required in order to become a full-fledged Marine. They are unpleasant, they're not quick, and only one more remains, which is the implantation of the black carapace, which facilitates the use of a full suit of Astartes power armor. However, for your chapter, you have to prove yourself worthy of the honor, largely by assisting mortal warriors. This is a standard Absolver tradition, which is to find a group of mortal warriors and help lead them to prove that you're worthy of the armor, and that you can prove that outside of the armor. To avoid any Marines who are the armor, which would be of no good to the Emperor or the fight. And so the duty chosen for you was to assist the fleet as you saw fit. Most recently, that took you to a damaged void ship that was involved in a raid on a derelict space hulk sometime before. Again, you've been desperately trying to work your way through the ranks to prove yourself worthy, and there's a lot of opportunity to do that. Unfortunately, there's also so much lowercase c chaos in this sector that it's the kind of thing where, like, if they don't call you up to do it, you can't prove yourself. So there's been a bit of a hurry up and wait. And the opportunity to answer this beacon and to assist the crew trapped there seemed like a worthy first step, another worthy way to show it. So the ship that you were headed to had been drifting through the void for several weeks, and one of the pilots from the flotilla was obligated to investigate. You went with them, and with a group of armsmen, 3 armsmen. Mortal soldiers with experience. However, none of them have your enhancements and none of them have your training. So you're aware that the ship must be searched, and you are aware that there are unknown dangers aboard. The armsmen are eager, unlike the ones that Sister Honorius encountered that were very green. These are the hoorah, like, I'm doing my part troops. And the prospect of being the heroes, you get to... the airlock hisses and boot in the door and sweep and clear this ship seem high. And also you can tell that they are a little unrealistic about the level of danger that they will be in. This is, the Hulk action was completed. They assume there's very little danger, but you know better than that. You know that for mortals, danger is around every corner. So one of a young sergeant named Kravis turns to you and says, "Sir, we're honored to get to stand by your side as we engage in this heroic action to bring assistance to this distressed beacon. We are armed, we are ready, and we stand by to act in however manner you require of us. Rest assured, though we lack your abilities, we have our own, and we will stand as best we can by your side." You're aware they're eager. You're aware there is perhaps danger ahead. You're also aware that time is of the essence. Distress beacons are not known for their, check it out, whatever. So the question that falls to you, Marius, is whether you want to stealth on ahead, scout the ship, and then bring the armsmen through, or move in all as one unit, let the armsmen do their job as they've been trained to do, and move with expediency. So slower and stealthier, or more slower and stealthier, or quicker but louder.
I would say he's probably going to definitely, so he kind of looks at them, I think perhaps it is better to have a more stealthy approach. I will scout ahead. You stay here, and when I need you, I will summon you. Excellent.
And I forgot to do this when we were sitting at the banquet. What does Marius look like?
Marius is he's a little below 7 feet tall, as are most of the people in his chapter. But he's very broad, like most Space Marines, kind of that signature silhouette. But he also, on his face, he has some battle scars, but he also has some ritualistic scars from the chapter themselves. But he has one very defining one that's definitely not there on purpose, which is a large slash across the side of his neck that looks like it went quite deep at one point in time. And he has generally a very dour expression upon his face, and but every now and then you can see a slight smirk. He gets a little bit more. He tries his best to be somewhat closer to the humans he's around because he feels like it'll be beneficial to his mission as well as helping with further understanding who he's leading.
Right. Excellent. And in terms of the armor, as a longtime painter of Space Marines, I feel like behooves me to ask, what kind of color scheme are we working with on the armor?
So he still follows through with their chapter colors, which is mainly white, and then with the red accents as well as the actual symbols of it. On his one shoulder, it has the actual symbol as well as a somewhat of like a tassel kind of thing there,
sure.
Kind of like a slight decoration and pride of his chapter.
What is the chapter symbol of the Absolvers?
So it's like a red chalice. It kind of gives off the vibe of like the Blood Angels a little bit, but we don't know where these guys are from necessarily.
So it does my Bretonian heart very proud. Anytime you can slap a chalice on a thing, I'm like, oh, yeah.
So we're splitting the difference between Blood Angels and White Scars functionally
in terms of visually, and then they're very much so in terms of, from what I was able to glean, they kind of have the vibe of like the Ultramarines in terms of they're very on the Codex Astartes, but because of where they are, they have some different flavor to them to still be their own thing. But in terms of approaching them, it's similar to that.
Yeah, and we talked about this in Session 0, but a big challenge for the Absolvers is that their leadership has disappeared. They all went back to the home world, and then the Great Rift occurred. So there's just some where did they go? What were they after? What did they learn? What's going on with our chapter is in the air, which is my favorite kind of Space Marine chapter. Great. So you're going to stealth ahead into this ship. You can think of this as a very like away team mission on Star Trek kind of situation where the lights are out on the ship. There's like basic life support, but very, very dark corridors. Of course, everything in Warhammer is like vaguely gothic, very sort of Nostromo from the Alien film kind of situation. So close quarters. This isn't a big ship. And you begin to make your way through. So what I will need from you then is a stealth check.
All right.
So you're going to take your stealth skill that is listed there, and that's how many dice you'll be rolling.
I also, just very quick in terms of this, because I'm extremely new, I also have equipment here, which is a specific type of cloak. I'm not sure it's a plus 1 bonus die to stealth.
Yep.
Is that always in play?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, unless the cloak gets destroyed. So if you're like, there's a fire, I throw my cloak on it, then like it's gone.
Or if you take it off and put it in your pocket. You're like, it's not a cloak day. You know, Marius is just like, no cloak today.
I got it. I got my little cloak around.
Yeah, love that.
I got that.
Great. So so the way +1s work is exactly as you said, Spencer. It's adding an additional dice. So unlike D&D where it's like add +1 to the roll, it's like you get to roll an additional dice.
So I roll 8 dice.
You do.
Oh
it turns out
Stealthy
scouts are Space Marines and Space Marine scouts are very good at what they do. You're not one of those armsmen who all got martyred by Dell.
Okay.
Ooh.
That is, I see a few here.
Okay, that's a
Fours
bunch
are
of
good, right?
Sixes. Sixes
Yeah,
are very
four-
good.
just
four
rolled
That
plus
was
is
a
what you
six.
want.
That was a 4. That was a 4. That was
Okay.
not a 6. I just rolled it because I have big old fingers. Okay. So there, another okay, we got a lot of success here.
Yeah.
3, no. There we go. And a
Wow,
5.
that's a great roll.
So 6 things, and what are the 6s again? That's
It
like
counts as 2.
oh, okay. So 2, 4.
If you beat 3, you
I
succeed.
beat 3 by a lot.
He'd like to shift so hard. He's back in the present, and now he's wearing a medal.
I'm actually
shift into Primaris.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised. I'm actually in Warhammer Fantasy now.
Yeah, congratulations, you are a Primarch. Turns out you founded the chapter.
Leveled up.
All the chapters. Okay, great. So, Marius, you begin to make your way through these sort of darkened tunnels using your cloak and all of your stealth training. And again, like this is, particularly as a Space Marine Scout, this is literally what you're built for. So very easily able to make your way through. The ship is mostly silent, aside from the creaking of metal and the occasional pings and other things that are always kind of haunting these sorts of ships. But eventually, you start to find scratches on the floor and some of the walls. And as you make your way through, you see a hatch that's been welded shut. Fairly recently, it wasn't done hurriedly. It looks like it was done kind of. It's very workmanlike, but it's just a patch job. Okay. And following, now that you know what you're looking for, looking at the edges of this, you can see scratch marks on the space, and yet it seems to have been repaired with no haste, and just as though it was a standard issue. But following from that, you begin to move more stealthily, a little bit more cautiously. You kind of like have your rifle up. As you begin to kind of actively start to clear this, because there are clear Xenos marks on these walls, and it's very clear that the crew did not recognize that that's what was afoot. And gradually, you sort of make your way sort of through the ship, but you notice more of these scratch marks kind of behind a bulkhead. And peering in behind, you can see a bit of a nest that's been set up with kind of shredded uniforms. You see flesh, you see bone, and you realize you found whatever is haunting this ship's nest. So as you were trained to do, you take up a post nearby with kind of line of sight on it. And sure enough, as time passes, you're there for a while. Like you crouch waiting for about an hour, and for one of the armsmen, probably far too long, probably would have panicked. But for a Marine, you've got the discipline to wait. And your waiting pays off as a gene stealer the Tyranid Genestealer begins clicking and clacking with its taloned feet through, just dragging like a rib cage with the spine kind of dragging some shreds of a uniform, head lolling through, and just sort of tosses it into the pile before climbing in and using its multiple arms to start to pick flesh and bone off and kind of examine it, which gives you a perfect target. So how do you kill this Genestealer? Do I already have a pretty good lay of the land, or is it possible to see if there's more? Is it just this one? It's just the one. Yeah. You can tell that this is likely a stowaway. The crew probably just thought they had a mechanical issue, but the nest is small enough that there's only one, and if there were more, you would have fought them by now.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, so because there's only the one, and it's not aware that I'm here.
Passed your stealth check with flying colors, so you are lined up for a kill.
Okay. Well, then in that case, I'm not going to use my gun.
Yep.
Instead, I think they have a knife with them. I imagine. Because
check that sheet, baby. See what you got.
It doesn't say gun either. Oh, there it does. Oh, it does. Oh, chainsword, combat knife. So we're gonna use the combat knife then. Thank you. Because let's not waste anything, and the chainsword is going to be too loud. So I would like to sneak up on it and just quickly deal with this.
Great. So let's get weapon skill then.
All right. Help. Okay. Oh, okay. So 7, and do I have any other things with that?
And I don't know if this matters. It's reliable, supposedly. That's a trait on the combat knife, whatever that does.
Yeah, I don't know what the traits
I don't know what any of those
reliable.
things do.
I think he can count on it to do this job.
I think it's a
I think
reliable
the
friend.
blade showed up today, so you've got that going for you. Well, go ahead and roll your dice. I'll look up what reliable means
Okay,
while
so
you
that
do it.
is 7 die. Okay, so not as many. There, and you. 7 successes total.
How do you end this Genestealer?
The knife is reliable. We can confirm.
I want to go up behind it, a slight smirk, because he's like, I got this, a little bit. He is going to quickly grab the back of his head and then have the knife backwards towards and just pull forward.
Great. It lets out like a garble, like just as the blade cuts through. The arms spasm and swing, but you just kind of like step back and let it flail and kind of like. I'm pretty sure Tyranids have acid blood.
Yeah, most of them do.
So
I think so, yeah.
Acid sprays on the walls and stuff as you step back, sort of disappearing back into the shadows. But as the creature, the light in the creature's eyes goes out, you're aware again. Like you do a cursory search of the ship, don't find anything else. So the armsmen follow, and Kravis is just like eyes wide, and you can tell that all 3 of the armsmen, as soon as they see you, like walk up with the head, were like, oh, maybe someone stubbed a toe, and are like, oh shit, like this would have been their death. There's no way that these guys are coming out of this. So they're, kind of looking at you with awe and also terror now of the ship. So it went from like, we're the heroes to like, oh my God, like get me out of here. So you clear the rest of the ship. Unfortunately, you do find the crew that sent out the distress call dead. They were the creature's final hunt. And Kravis, in a very polite roundabout way, indicates that they were alive when you arrived, but by approaching more stealthily, the time elapsed and they were killed. But he says it in a way so as not to make this your fault, because in his eyes it is not. But again, the important thing is the Xenos was killed.
Do we know how many crew there were exactly left?
Let me see.
More than 3?
I'm not sure. Give me a second.
Okay. Because that'll determine how he kind of feels about this.
Oh, how many humans?
Yeah, because he doesn't, like, in a mean way, he doesn't like waste. More is more important, but initial
Humans are
idea.
numbers.
The numbers are still important.
There were 5.
5? Ooh, okay. So he's not thrilled by that. So he kind of, not too much change. For another Space Marine, they'd maybe notice it more, but these guys are kind of in awe, but he kind of, his shoulders go a little down a little bit, and he's like, shit. But he's at least glad that the Xenos is gone and no one else was injured, at least.
So the report, the after action report, made its way to your superiors. They expressed whoever you're kind of like overseeing like your training Marine gives you a very like, it is good that you killed the Xenos. It is bad that you did not save the crew. However, the death of a gene stealer in the fleet is more important than 5 lives, and you kept the armsmen alive. We will need more fighters. This is neither a win nor a loss. You may consider it a draw. Nevertheless, you were called up by Veronius. You think possibly as not a punishment, but sort of this last test didn't show us that you're ready for your armor, so go work for this guy to like prove it. Yeah. And so you find yourself. So these are the thoughts that are kind of dancing through your mind as everyone here exalts you. And similar to Sister Honoria, all the armsmen aboard have heard of your heroism, and to them, they're like, well, you saved our lives. So they're all great because they're used to being kind of fodder. But for you, there's still that little ping of shame that like, well, yeah, but we didn't save the people. And they're all like, but you saved us.
Kind of like the hindsight is 20/20 thing. He's like, if I just moved faster, and he's just in his head about it because he was so close.
Well, and also the disappointment, I'm sure, in hearing soldiers, supposedly, again, the armsmen are like loosely soldiers, but soldiers be like, oh, well, we survived, and that's the important thing. It's like, that's not what we do here. That's not the job.
Yeah.
In any case, that's so how do you respond as kind of the commander looks at you, and Galba continues to kind of gesture broadly?
I'm briefly lost because I'm looking at the cutlery and just surprised how shiny and small it is. Because I'm just this big guy in a chair that's just a little too small, and I'm just kind of trying not to.
You're the only adult sitting at the kids' table.
Yeah, I'm trying not to look too like curious and like because. I don't know, like it's not too long ago that he was once like just a human child. He's probably like in his 20s. Doesn't look it, but and he's just kind of examining just briefly because he's still like he's very uncomfortable with all of this because he's usually like somewhat not too talkative because he's usually having to be quiet, but in response to all this, and he goes, my service, the only thing I wish is that everyone was able to make it out. All the numbers are important for our mission.
And Galba is just like doing that big, overly expansive clap. Just be like, oh, a true hero. You know, always thinking of the little guys, looking at your size in the chair. And says, well, please. Now that
he hasn't eaten anything.
Yeah, now that we're all familiar with each other, please let's have food. And like claps and like plates and things get more plates get brought in. Obviously,
so Somnus has cleared off all of the stuff that was like appetizers, like the basket of bread. Everything set up for the whole table is gone.
I push over my food to you.
Oh, thank you. You're all right. The rest of you, you though, my guy.
Yeah. So the dinner proceeds and is a test for all three of you in different ways, having to make small talk.
Oh God! Oh no!
Luckily,
special hell for you.
Lord Meldrake is happily fills the space. Just kind of. He's a collector of rare artifacts and is very happy to speak about his frustrations with basically not being able to pursue his hobby in this sector because, like, you know, I came here expecting I could find all manner of exciting things, and then what should happen? But oh dear, there's a giant rift behind us, and it turns out there's not a whole hell of a lot here. It's very difficult to supply lines. And the captain is trying to placate him as well because, like, the captain's like, well, but I mean, we've done a pretty good job so far. I'd say, well, you're bullshit. You've done nothing. It's been very frustrating. Very frustrating. In fact, the only one I think understands me at all is this guy over here eating all the food.
Yeah, this is a good place.
Thank you. Yes, he understands. It's very
Someone
good.
bring me an ostrich. And it's getting weirder over on Somnus' side of the table. There's a reason for this. Somnus is here trying to figure out if Captain Galba is doing his job or stealing things. So he's continually making more and more outlandish orders, which he's even doing for all of his meals because he's trying to track what's actually in the larder versus logs of what's in the larder. It's the same thing with like every different amenity that's been available on the ship. He's gone and tried everything possible to see if it's here. And like, well, if there's like if there are people who are here as like masseuses or other things, he's like, how many? He wants to try everybody to see if they're actually that thing and where the money
Can I
is.
get an investigation from you?
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Gotta start looking into my target.
I feel like he's good at his job, so I'm going to spend one of my tokens. These dice suck. That is 4 icons.
4 icons, great. Also, I was incorrect on my correction of myself. Any 6 creates exalted icons.
Bam. I got an
shift.
exalted with that.
Great.
That helmet.
So your difficulty, you got 1 exalted?
I got 1 exalted.
Great. So you can shift that one. So you can either turn it into, you can add it to the glory pool, or you can spend it to learn. I know. You can learn 1 piece of
We're
information.
going to build the glory pole and the glory hole, fellas. Let's do this.
Fill the glory hole.
Which incidentally was also a theme in our first season of Valentine Heresy.
That's true.
That
that's
stupid
right,
hive
that's right,
planet.
yeah.
All right. So you can learn a piece of information, which might be what you want. You can have an exceptional success. You can reduce the time, but you don't really need that.
I think because this has been his thing, whatever you feel is appropriate for either learning a piece of information or an exceptional success, whatever adds up to this investigation, because it's like he's run multiple.
So
purposes,
you can ask a question, or I can just give you a thing. But is there a particular question? I mean, you mentioned wanting to know what's in the stores and how.
Yeah, essentially. So this is from my character sheet, my listed objectives. I've been sent by the Administratum to spy on Captain Galba, as the Administratum has noticed irregularities in his reports, but cannot risk angering Veronius by accusing him without proof.
Okay.
So,
yeah, I got your back on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you are your investigations. You've been to the spa. You've eaten at all of the different grand ballrooms. You've attended the Perpetual Opera. You've gone to you've been to all the various spaces, and what you've come to find is that Galba seems to be kind of the worst version of incompetent, in that he isn't actively siphoning money or like. He's not doing anything. He's just really fucking bad at his job. And by being bad at his job, he is allowing all these things to happen. So no, the storeroom is not properly stocked. But you don't think he's enriching himself. He's just shitty at accounting.
he literally doesn't know what's going on.
Exactly
in this ship.
right. So that's the vibe you've been getting, which is he. Again, he's the cruise director. He's here to make sure that the important people have a good time. This vehicle is a huge honor to get to command. Yeah, the secret you get from him is that his poor oversight has led to a lack of discipline on the ship, and it's common knowledge that petty theft is rife. Months have passed since a proper inventory of the lower decks was taken. And more recently, this caused a riot that was suppressed through the deft intervention of Morstan Fife. Ooh. So, like, you get the sense from all this that Fife is secretly holding this ship together, and Galba is living in a bit... Galba has bought the... lie that this ship is that it is all good times here. There are no problems.
Well, great. Then I would say
there is no ostrich food though.
Within that's fine. Within this and within that, I think Somnus has been wearing recording devices to like talk to people in these different areas. So he's put together his report. And following Administratum procedure, he will be recommending to the Adeptus Administratum, along with everything else, that Morriston be promoted to captain of the ship, that this captain be executed, and that every person he can name who has participated in minor crimes should be charged and servitorized, along with the shipping overhaul.
You can have that token back because you've accomplished one of your objectives.
So yeah, this captain, fuck him.
Yep.
I did one of mine in a flashback.
Somnus appears very stupid out loud. It's also really useful cover for him because nobody expects him to be a spy. They expect him to be an obnoxious, boorish psyker.
Yep. You got your bottom.
Yeah, I need to get a massage. I don't know what this deal is. Run me down. He's like naked already. He's like, it's going to be a good time for both
already.
of us.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
And the other thing I was going to give you on that... shit. I lost it. Fuck.
You know what? I'm going to keep thinking.
In terms of the food... fruit and like fresh fruit is brought out at one point, which is that there is a basically a farm ship in the flotilla that can provide this, but this is like an extraordinary rarity. But you also notice that the people at the table ignore it. They're just eating their spicy paste and like talking about it. It's the people who don't actually recognize what's the expensive thing on the plate. So they don't recognize that the fruit is actually the rarest, most like sought after thing in the Imperium. They're instead like, oh, but my McDonald's is pretty great.
Yeah, I think.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Sorry. No,
Go for it.
I was going to ask, is there anything akin to a pineapple? Because it's the only fruit that can fight back, so I might partake.
Sure. Yeah. I'll say this
More fruit.
I take one.
Marius is eating a pineapple, just biting into it like an apple.
Didn't even remove the outside layer. Just
Yeah, and then I think Somnus would warn Honoria, who he has known from some previous missions, this stuff's good, but only eat a little bit, because if you don't eat a lot of fruit, and nobody does, this goes in there, stuff comes out. So, like, just a little, save the rest for later. Yeah, you big man, you're going to go to war soon. You're going to go to war with yourself.
I feel like I'll be all right with my enhancements, hopefully.
Honestly, I feel
if
like
not,
that,
what
too.
was the point?
We all learn a lesson. You know what? You got to get tougher. Maybe this is your big quest.
Oh, shit. How'd you know?
No, I joke. I have a lot of respect for your quests. You and I were good, Marius. I know. I'm a kind of a pain in the ass.
Well, thank you, Somnus. I appreciate it.
Yeah,
and
no-
she's mostly doing proteins. And then
Okay,
she'll
well-
give some bread off of her plate to him.
Oh, thank you for I'm a carb guy. You know me. And he'll eat that, and then he'll take a little bit of fruit for himself and a little bit for Honoria, and then he's going to take the rest and shovel it into the pockets of his coat. Like, I got a sweet tooth for later.
Yeah, the Lord
Perfect.
looks over at you and he says, "Oh yes, a collector like myself. Tell me, Psyker, you must have encountered strange and exotic objects in your travels. What is the most interesting thing you found? I am a collector myself." And he taps the gun on his hip.
Oh, I thought you were going to point at some fruit. Okay, yeah, that gun's pretty cool.
I noticed you socking things away in that pocket for later. It is good collector behavior.
Do
yes.
I recognize what this gun is, Tom? Is there a roll I can do to try to spot this?
Yeah, I guess.
Because I'd be more worldly than most.
Yeah, I
I've
mean,
had
you
to
can
travel
all
from
you can
home.
all
Yeah,
go ahead
I
and
wanna know
do
about
that.
guns.
I'm curious about this
Because I've had to travel from homeworld
I like
to a
guns.
black
We
ship
like
to
guns.
Terra to here.
Yeah.
You go here?
So
We gone here?
I would take, and you guys can pick what you think would make most sense for your character. I would take tech. I would take, what are the knowledge?
Would you accept a scholar?
Yeah, I would take scholar. For you, I would
Weapon
take
skill would be awesome.
For a Marine, that's not a terrible sell.
Yeah, no, I take that.
Or
I'd
would
take
it be
that for you.
ballistic skill if technically
Oh,
this is
maybe,
a
yeah.
gun?
Yeah, I would take ballistics.
Okay, that's also good.
No, I would take
Oh,
weapon
okay.
skill. I think
Oh.
because
Weapon
I would
skill?
take ballistic skill to be aiming, and I don't. Oh no, I guess no. Ballistic skill. Ballistic skill's fine.
Okay.
So yeah, let's say ballistic skill or tech. Let's all those dice roll.
I got 3 successes.
Great.
I got 2.
I got 6 successes, and I would like to add a point to the glory pool.
Hell yeah. So, just as a reminder, you can spend glory points in a variety of ways. You can spend them to add a dice to your dice pool. So, if you're rolling on a check and you want some extra dice, you can do that. You can spend it after attack to add 1 damage for each spent point. So, rather than rolling to see if you add additional damage, you can go, fuck you, I add extra damage.
Nice.
You can use it to improve a critical hit. So we've got a critical hit chart where we roll to see what goes down. And you can also spend it to seize initiative. So the way initiative works in this game is kind of fun. It's fully narrative. So basically we'll decide collectively who would most logically go first. And then it's literally back and forth. So you act, an opponent acts, one of you acts, an opponent acts. But if you have glory to spend, you can be like, I go next. To basically, you can give yourself a double turn, or like in theory, all the party can like just burn something down if they're all like, "Meh." All of us go. So
Yeah.
good stuff. So we'll add. I've got different tokens. I've got different
Ooh.
tokens. So we'll add some different
Yeah, 'cause
tokens.
I had 1 exalted on my
Pow.
stretch.
So now we know there's one
Yeah,
glory
the
that anyone can
glory.
spend.
glory pool.
Yeah, the pool begins.
Slowly first.
Oh, she already left. She just hear like perpetual opera echoing down the halls. All right. Yeah.
She's practicing.
Yeah, exactly. No, she's gone. She went to do her job. Okay, so you recognize that it is a Shuriken pistol, so an Aeldari pistol. You can tell it's very old and modified. It seems to have been kind of It's not unlike the dining hall around you. It seems to have been kind of kept up by less crafty hands. It's something he's clearly had for a long time. And he notices your eyes on it as he taps it. He says, yes, this is a memento from my campaign against those pointy-eared scum. I've defended my planet quite ably against them. I mean, they would surely be no match for an Astartes or a sister of battle like yourselves, or perhaps even a psycho, though they are rather canny. But we just had good old-fashioned Imperium grit. We did, and we fought them to the last. Several of them surrendered, and we shot them in the back, as a good honest and honorable man of the Imperium would do. But I carry this as a little memento of my campaigns.
Sounds like a waste of ammunition.
Ah, yes, very good, very good. This, of course, sir.
I mean, if we're talking about personal history, I got seconded to the Inquisition at one point for a little thing. We had to go through a massive dockyards, find an illegal shipment. Turned out it was a collection of spirit stones from from those Eldar.
So they do put their. I knew it. I knew those. So they put their souls in the stones. Do you know what happened to them?
I mean, the Inquisition happened. They give things back to the Administratum sometimes, but it's like Wraithbone up to the big eye.
He takes out
you got Spirit Stones, big eye.
Long drag of Amasek and just says, there's all these wonderful things that a collector such as myself could make better use of, but they just disappear into the annals of the Inquisition.
Well, the Inquisition, of course, is the Emperor's right hand, so he knows best what to do with it.
Of course. I'm but a humble servant who could use...
Oh, yeah, I forget to say that. I saw the Emperor one time. That's also kind of a big thing for people.
And, silence falls over the table.
What?
Oh, yeah, so to become a sanctioned astropath, it is true with a lot of the astropaths and other people, you get soul bonded to the Emperor. So I kind of, a kid living somewhere, get picked up in a black ship because you got some psycho abilities. They take you to Terra. They go, strong enough, maybe not strong enough. Maybe we feed you the big guy. You make it out, though, and they're like, say hello to the big golden man. You take a peek, bam. Blind as hell. You're never going to see again. It's the last thing you see is the Emperor, but he divests you with some part of his sacred power so you can be less corruptible by the warp, and then they send you out to do your job. So I saw him. Last thing I ever saw.
And then Galba leans in and says, well, I've been captain of this ship for 25 years. So we all have our... And then suddenly there's a massive... tremor that lurches through the ship. All the food on the table slides and just cascades over Galba, just slams into it. It's like a little, all of the food that you haven't pocketed.
My bread!
As that happens, I try not to look relieved that something's happening.
I think Honoria would try to catch her and Somnus's plates so they don't go anywhere.
All right. Give me let's go with...
This is so important.
It's so important.
Well, I want agility, but what skills... Maybe ballistic skill? Sure. Let's go with ballistic skill. That's the agility skill
Can
on
she
the...
pilot the plates
Actually,
in the
you know
air?
what? No, fuck that. Let's just go straight agility. Straight agility.
Yeah,
for
that
this.
makes sense.
Straight.
It's just the A.
Just the A. Okay.
Yep. You want to spend a glory point to catch these plates? You want to become Tobey Maguire Spider-Man? Just catch all the food?
It's two successes. Is that enough for
That's
2 plates?
enough? Yeah. You only needed one. So, yep. You catch the plates, but the captain is just smothered in food. And immediately the lights flicker and dim. Alarm klaxons begin to blare. And you all feel the sickening transition of moving into warp.
Captain, did you order this?
No, fucking no, he says.
Okay, Morriston. And he looks over to the commander. He says, awkward question. Do you feel like you could take command and actually make this ship work in a crisis?
Oh, God.
And he's already got his gun out and is eyes up, looking around. And he kind of says, "What? Hang on, I'm getting comms. Hold that thought, though. Hold that thought."
Okay.
And he gives you a bit of a look like...
Two fingers Xavier towards his temple.
He keys a thing, and immediately his comms come in over the greater comms, and you just hear a voice saying, "Commander Marston, sir, we've undergone an unscheduled warp transition. Navigator is screaming, sir. The astropath has gone catatonic. We don't and suddenly gravity inverts. So I need athletics from you as you begin to fall upwards.
I do not succeed. I was rolling one die. I am a portly man in a long leather coat holding a stick.
Okay, so 4 successes.
4 successes.
And that's with the Exalted? Is that
And
what?
with an exalted, yeah.
Yes.
Ooh, okay. So with your Exalted, you can learn a piece of info about gravity. You can have an exceptional success. And those are pretty much the two. Or you can add it as glory. Those are kind of your best options.
Is it possible with an exceptional success to aid you who did not go so good?
Yeah, I'd
so
buy
like,
that.
just like a quick
Sure.
grab?
Yep.
Well, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want the narrative flavor for it, I do believe if anybody's likely to have mag boots, it's probably the Space Marines.
You're right.
Yep. Yeah, great. So and you've got robes to spare. So
Oh
it's
my
just
God,
like
yeah.
you grab by the robe, you scruff of the neck. Just, food is floating out of your pockets.
My throat!
All right.
And I got 3 successes.
Okay, amazing. So you, just you also
Just release the plates.
yeah, just release the plates. The other 3 begin to float. Because you passed, anyone who passed their test, so you're not going to take damage, Ryan. You were supposed to, and it was going to ignore armor. So like this is very good.
Yeah.
But since you
Help
failed, you
us
won't be able to do
humans.
this. But for both, Marius and Anaria, you can draw your weapons if you see fit.
Definitely.
Oh, absolutely.
The weapons coming out.
Great. So weapons come out, and before you have much of a chance to recover, all of you hear feel a pop in your ears as reality tears itself open in front of you, and there's a horrific rent in real space through which you can see a twisted landscape of fetid trees and green-brown skies. Morstan just like gun up, just says, "Get behind me!" At which point, just a cascade of a horrible green sludge blasts through the portal and just like hits him square in the
I'll
face.
say, Tom, just a question. Is this an active power being cast by somebody, or is this warp thing? Because
This
I can
is-
deny the witch if this was somebody else
Sadly,
casting.
no.
Okay,
This
if it's
is
reality,
just-
it's reality.
This is the warp vomiting on a man.
Yeah, he can't stop that. That doesn't work.
So just
man.
gets hit, just covered by it, and behind him, Calvin just says, "Ugh, disgusting!" And Morstan, just like covered in sludge, starts to turn to you, Somnus, and say, "Yes, I feel like I could take control." And his jaw begins to turn inside out as his tongue and kind of the inner flesh of his mouth just begins to come out of the outside as tendrils begin to tear out of his flesh.
Oh, no.
Oh,
So
he's competent.
yeah. So as his body begins to twist and mutate, he lets out a horrific scream.
You're going to shoot this man.
I was going to say, I've been reaching to Xavier's smite, and I just shift my eyes a foot to the left.
All right. So you turn to Xavier.
I'm going to shoot him.
Yep,
Pistol.
gun out.
Shoot. Yeah, I will be shooting this
Right.
one.
So with guns,
We'll use
weapons,
bolter.
and psychic powers drawn, you turn your eyes on the mutated
Chaos
commander
spawn. It
Morstan.
rhymes. Sorry, I just needed to finish that.
That was good.
I know.
That was good.
And we will see the result of that next episode.
Wrath and Glory Traitor's Hymn features our storyteller Tom McGee, along with players Ryan LaPlante, Borovic, and Spencer Hipwell. Special thanks to Cubicle 7 for supplying us with the Wrath and Glory starter set for this adventure. This episode was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra, and the One Shots logo was created by Decapitated Markers at Decapitated Marker, that's MRKR. This show's theme music is Gothic Trip with Thunder Horse by Damiano Baldoni, and our ad breaks use the tracks No Control and Cheats by Jazzar, JAHZZAR, all available at freemusicarchive.org. For all things Dum Dums and Dice, including merchandise and how to join our Patreon, you can visit dumdumdice.com or find us on social media at dumdumdice. That's DUMBDICE. I'm DJ One Shot 2.0. Thank you for listening, and don't forget to smash that subscribe button and show your love to One Shots.
Dum Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time: Christopher Little, George Dolby, Richard Cranium, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Logan, Fire Unfriendly, Grandma Likes D&D, Alan, Stabby Stranger, Glitch Trick, Flynn1138, Alarain Okapi, Schrodinger's Pepper, Madre de Gatos, Lady Maiden, Garbo Ape, Locke, Sam Schaefer, Waffle Marine, Dagger Rain, Rob L, Dia De Los Hoodless, Squishy Werewolf, Remy, Funky Head, Nomad, the Wise Paladin of the Badlands, Accent Therapeutic Services in Florence, Kentucky, Lael, Shulzari, The Long Family, Jordan Oliver, Richard Wright, Brittany Fenwick, Alex Parr, Old Man Mojo, Dragonfly, The Body Barrelers, Megan Werner, A Man Out of Time, Curtis at FingerTechRobotics.com, Panda24NN, Shendra D, Your Homeboy Bones, The Gator Family, Ellis Hatch, Odigenous, Dan the Welshman, Afflicto Gaming, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.